Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the It's Too Late We Said It podcast featuring myself and my brother Edwin right here. I'm Sean Leverett. That's Edwin Nevato here. We are your hosts here, man. And on
Appreciate
our
it.
podcast, we just talk about everything that we think of and everything that most people may be afraid to think of. Well, might be thinking, but they feel like they're too encapsulated in the society or work and school or friends. You don't want to alienate nobody. But life is an alienation in itself. So if you're not talking about these subjects, then you pretty much live in a fucking lie. And me
Yeah,
and my
pretty
guy,
much.
we don't live
Yeah,
lies,
pretty much anything and everything is covered, Joe. As we start to grow, what you guys say in the comments will kind of also help kind of mold in some of the topics that we discuss. So feel free to bring up topics, and if we feel it's relevant, we're gonna bring them up. You know what I mean? So you just go ahead, put your thoughts down there. We're gonna make it happen. Give you
nigga.
our views on these things.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
what are some of the topics we're gonna start with today?
well, today we're going to talk about a lot of shit, man. One of the things that's heavy on my heart right now, everybody know I'm a big LA Rams fan. If you cut me, nigga, I bleed Marshall Faulk's blood, nigga. So that's how heavy it is. That's how deep I'm in the
Yeah,
game. Today we lost a good brother. He's no longer with us for the rest of the season. My guy Robert Woods tore his
Robert Woods.
ACL 16 minutes before they signed Odell. So a lot of people are saying that's what caused the Odell sign, and that's what went ahead and triggered it. He tore his ACL at practice. Um, it's a good and a bad thing because that means Odell's role, his capacity will be increased. So we don't have to maybe worry about him bitching so much about not getting enough touches. But I don't know. I don't think that'll hinder us at all, bro. What you
Yeah.
you think? You think we still
I
going to the
mean,
ship?
I'm gonna look like this, man. They were a fly powered offense before Odell Beckham Jr., Robert Woods leaving the offense. Is a
Oh,
blow. However,
Edwin's a Ravens fan too, guys. If you
yeah, as you know, you're gonna see it
sorry
back
ass
behind
Ravens.
me, but we could discuss that on another topic. But I mean, I'm gonna look at it like this, I think that part of the situation is gonna be because Odell still got to learn the playbook, so. We're going
Yes,
to see
that's true.
Van Jefferson probably step up in the number 2 spot as Odell starts to get into it. They're probably going to just bring him in on a play-by-play basis. And I
Gadget
mean,
play type.
it's his for the taking. We already know Cooper Cup. The offense runs through Cooper Cup. He's the highlight of that offense besides Matthew Stafford. So I mean, you're gonna look at Cooper Cup, and then it's for Odell's taking to take the second spot to number 2, and that's gonna help Cooper Cup grow. And they'll complement each other because they're two different types of receivers. And I mean, I don't
I'm not.
think that's gonna
I'm not sure he'll be able to overthrow Coop though. Because Coop
definitely not.
is
Cooper Cup can play in every part, just like Odell can, but he just got a different type of shiftiness to him too. And the
right,
chemistry he has with Matthew Stafford, it was instant. You know what I mean? The
right,
minute that
right.
Matthew Stafford was there, I
White
mean,
power, nigga. They got together.
yeah.
It was a wrap.
Yo, he's like the wide receiver version of like Christian McCaffrey for real. If you think about it,
Swiss Army knife.
his skill set is like that. You could even put him in some jet sweeps and everything. He's got the little shifty speed like a Wes Welker.
And he
So
be he do punt
and he can
returns
break over
sometimes
top
too.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So he's just got great vision. He's a great player. So I mean,
Out of
nobody's gonna take
Western
that one spot.
Kentucky, bro. Out of
Yep.
Western Kentucky. See, that's why all of that big school shit I think is overrated. I mean, don't get me wrong. The concentration of talent does go to those big schools, but you definitely get those outliners that might come from anywhere.
I mean, those are the gems. The gems come from the little schools that you don't really see about the bigger
Right.
schools.
Same
So
because Marshall Faulk came out of San Diego State.
yeah,
DeMarcus Ware came out of Troy. These aren't big schools, but these are certified Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers.
yeah. I mean, if you look at it like we discussed in football, the Ravens also are known to take players from even undrafted free agents that become Pro Bowlers for us. So I mean, look at
Hmm.
that. And those are the teams that have those scouts that expand their horizons besides looking at the big schools because just because they come from small schools doesn't mean that talent in there. And then when they come to the NFL, boom, they blow up because
They
nobody knows about them.
right. They not game planning initially against these cats that's just coming out of motherfucking Pensacola Community College.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, Cooper Cup was a high-rated prospect coming out of the
Yeah,
draft.
he
So
had all the records for like D1 catches and yards. It's just he was on the low. He went to Western Kentucky, so they automatically discredit you for that. You're not playing against LSU. You're not playing against Texas A&M. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not that
yeah,
nigga.
yeah.
So
I mean, you said that the Odell Beckham signing was kind of like advanced for because of that injury, but that injury happened yesterday, did it not? Didn't it happen yesterday in practice?
it happened in front. Oh, when did we sign Odell?
Odell was signed on Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah,
Ah,
Thursday at 3 o'clock. And I think if I had to if I had to guess, I think that Friday's practice, Robert Woods may have felt a little extra pressure because he knows Odell Beckham's behind him on the depth chart,
Mm.
looking to move up. Maybe he overexerted himself a little bit in practice, and that's what could have like caused
I
the
hope he ain't do that
the
dumb shit,
injury.
man. Because he
You
was
know what I mean?
already. It was going to be Odell. I'm sorry. It was going to be Cooper first of all,
Mhm.
Robbie, and Odell. I don't think he
Yeah,
would have took because Robert Woods, like you said, he did a jet sweeps. He blocks his ass off too. He's a
yeah.
phenomenal
He
blocking wide receiver.
he definitely had the number two on lock, and I think the only competition that the person that had competition is Van Jefferson. He was in the number
Mhm.
three spot. Is that that's where Odell was going to probably go after because it's going to take a while for him to get acclimated with that offense anyway because there's two different types of style offenses that they run
But
from the
it's very
Browns
some.
to
Oh yeah, oh, and
yeah go
it's two
from,
different coaches you're dealing with too. Matt Stefanski is a running coach. That's what he
yeah
does. He's a running coach. But Sean McVay offense is very simplistic.
yeah
It's not very crazy. It's just like which way we gonna stab you. That's what defenses
yeah
say. Like which way these niggas gonna try to give it to us.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. It's simplistic in its design, but it's very complex in the game planning and how they attack you. You know, and
Mhm.
that's what makes it because what makes Sean McVay such a exemplary offensive coordinator is his ability to adjust on the fly and adjust to what's going on the field, which what the Ravens lacked to do on Thursday Night Football. They completely did not adjust. You know what I mean? They just started like they're doing a lot of cover zero blitzes, single high
Yes,
blitzes, and they were like,
got
beat us.
their ass
And
blitzed.
under no circumstances did any adjustments happen. And usually, what's been happening with the Ravens is the first half they'll get attacked with everything, and then they make second half adjustments and completely flip the game.
Hmm.
But everybody was sitting and waiting because even at halftime, we're like, all right, it's gonna.
He gonna
We
come
already
out
know what's
different
about to happen. They're gonna come out, make their adjustments, and then this is gonna go because the defense was balling. I mean,
because
they
it
was
was
giving
six
up some
three,
big
right?
plays. Yeah,
Six
there
three
was
at
six
halftime.
three. It was 6-3. And it went no, it was 10. It was they had we got 10. It was I had they had 15. They had
Okay.
15 points because they had scored and they had 15 points and then we scored that touchdown before the half to make it 10-15 and make it a one score game.
Mm. Still wasn't enough. The
Still
Dolphins,
wasn't
bro.
enough. Or was it? Oh no, I'm thinking of a Vikings game. I'm tripping. We
You
thinking of
on
two different games.
Percocets, bro. That's
Yeah, I'm
like
on perks there. It was 6-3. It was 6-3. But
that
that's the
was
same
crazy, man.
situation. Yeah, it
I
doesn't
didn't
make
expect
sense.
that at all. I did. I like you expected the Rams to beat the Titans. I expected you. We talked about this. They was gonna wipe the Dolphins, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like
It just didn't look. It didn't happen. That's why you have to look at it. I think it almost looks like the Ravens were looking past the Dolphins.
mhm.
They're looking at it because look, we had Nick Boyle and Brandon Williams and who's that? Derek Wolf that was expected to play, and they decided not to activate him. Almost saying we'll just save him for next week because we
Right,
don't need
right.
him for
We
this
don't need them
game.
for these
So they
niggas,
were
right?
always looking at like this game's not reading. They had a very simplistic game plan and it wasn't working. So I don't think that they were planning on having to have to make these adjustments, and they just got completely shell shocked because
By
the
that
Dolphins
defense,
said,
man.
and the Dolphins just said, look, we're already expected to lose, so we don't got nothing to lose, so we're just gonna freaking
Fuck
come
it.
at you. They look at the statistics. The Ravens are the weakest point of the offense is against the blitz. So like we'll just send the house
Put the
and
pressure on
see what you
Lamar.
do. Yep. And no routes was going through the middle. It was just amazing to see. It's like, how could you not have the field open and not send no routes in that direction?
It was a lot of drops too, bro. I seen Hollywood drop a couple. Duvernay
Yeah, I
dropped a
think
couple.
that probably was just from the frustration of losing the concentration and the timing was off. Everything was going downhill. And Lamar was more frustrated than I've ever seen him. He was on the sideline walking up and down, yelling at everybody, and it just didn't look good.
I
I mean,
loved
it
it,
didn't
nigga.
look good.
I loved it. I loved it.
I'm sure you
What's
loved it just as much as you loved that ACL tear by Robert Woods.
you bitch? Why you had to make it personal, nigga?
I mean, I didn't even. Did I say that out loud? It's too late, I guess.
It's too late. You said it. It's a wrap, nigga. Now,
I must
the
have said
world
it in my
knows.
head.
The world knows, nigga.
But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to another topic.
Uh, yeah. So, another thing I wanted to talk about, man, is now the V word has been a very topic since a very hot topic since the beginning of this pandemic popped off. First, in response to needing the vaccine and developing the V word. We're gonna say the V word because you get dinged for that. When I say V word, I'm not talking about virginity or vasectomy. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're
So,
talking about.
so when people are for my personal
It,
opinion, and there's a
it
lot of
rhymes with
discussion.
Maxine.
There you go. Maxine Pad, living single.
Yeah.
I've been going a lot of places, man. I've been rolling. Right now, I'm in Las Vegas. Edward is live back in. Oh, I was about to say you live back in Baltimore. You in
I'm
South
back in.
Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina, Raleigh, to be
Raleigh,
exact.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people, and I'm sure you've heard it too in your area where you at. But I mean, from the East Coast to the West Coast, outside of New York and New York City and San Francisco, mostly, there's been a big contention on whether we should be forced to take the V word. And more recently, over the last couple of weeks, the FDA approval for the V word going into our baby's arms. And it's a mixed response between, yeah, my babies are safe, and two, like, bro, you infringing on my rights, not for one, as an individual, to make rights for myself, and two, the rights for me to make decisions for my children. So that's a when you getting into a nuclear family and making decisions for them out externally from the government, that's always a big point of contention and something that people want to have a debate about. So what have you seen, dog? That's like, what are you
Um,
feeling that people see it just on the
I'm
whole?
gonna I'm gonna say, look, my opinion on the matter is more so like, in under normal circumstances when you're dealing with Maxine, you're gonna have. I'll go ahead
She's
and
a
just name
dirty
calling.
bitch, ain't she?
Yeah, yeah. When you deal with Maxine, like usually we're looking at a process that goes over a couple of years before you develop something that is deemed safe for the public consumption. But under the circumstances we went through the pandemic, everything was rushed, and that's the reason why it's not as acceptable to the general population as normal vaccine injections happen. So I mean, I'm
Right,
just gonna look at it like, that's why it should remain choice, because under constitutional rights, everyone has a choice of what they put in their body, and
right,
it'd be different if the the negative versus the positive of not and having is not something that is going to affect the general population, versus what it does is affects you. Is if you were to not go ahead and take vaccine and then you get COVID, it's really just your health, because you still have to go under the same protocols of, like, um, quarantining and make sure you
right.
don't pass it. But the difference is, somebody that does go ahead and takes a date with Maxine, they go ahead and get COVID, and you know what's going to happen then? They have no symptoms, and they still become susceptible of passing it on to someone that
Spreading
who
it.
doesn't have
Correct.
it. And so, really, the person that's at risk is the person that's not going ahead and accept the vaccine. So, why are you going through so much trouble to try to force people? Now, that being
Hmm.
said, we got a federal mandate that just passed now, that any healthcare official, the people that's been in the front lines battling the pandemic, are being
Hmm.
forced to take vaccine, or they're going to be forced to lose their jobs. And I'm gonna have to say, my mother, she's a nurse. She works in the healthcare system, and she was literally forced out of her job, and she has to get a job that's outside of the medical field,
Just
just
to
so she
stand
can
on what
keep
she
on
believe in.
working. Yeah, and
Man, what's crazy is out when I was flying over here last night, I was actually sitting next to a nurse, and she was like a traveling nurse, and she was coming here for the Tough Mudder. They having like a world Tough Mudder event down here. But that's besides the point. She was working like the medical tent, and she said that they was trying to find nurses to work it. She was coming from Baltimore to here.
yeah,
And she was wondering, why can't they just get a local nurse? But she was saying that you have to be vaccinated, or you got to fuck with Maxine. And we gonna get some T-shirts to say I don't fuck with Maxine,
vaccine.
or I do fuck with Maxine. But she was saying, like, that's why they got her, because she vaccinated. So Max, because she got Maxine,
Vaccinated, I love it.
I'm
She got
vaccinated.
vaccine.
You feel me? So that's crazy. So that lets you know. I mean, and from my perspective, I'm like, okay, a lot of people must not be messing with it. If my fault for this overhead on this plane, a lot of people must not be messing with it if they have to go to that extent just to find nurses
Right,
to come cover the
right.
event. You know what I
You know
mean?
what I mean? And I mean, that's what it comes down to, because if it's all about the scientific data, scientific data already proves that, whether you take vaccine and don't take vaccine, the only person at risk is the person that doesn't take vaccine,
Right.
in a hypothetical sense, versus if you get COVID and have symptoms, that could be life-threatening symptoms, where someone with vaccine has a lower rate, because it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're not going to have symptoms,
Right.
but it
Right.
does reduce the risk.
Comparatively,
Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, most people, the majority of people that get COVID after seeing vaccine have no symptoms at all. However, they're still communicable to pass the disease to others, which that makes it dangerous for people that doesn't have it, because then they're it's almost like a false insecurity because I mean
So
this
so if the
yeah.
so if the issue is to make sure everybody's good and to spread information, why is it that that information is not being propagated in the same volume of the get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it? There's
Right,
no
right.
advocation of, well, if you don't, we want you to get it, but if you don't, you could still be okay statistically on it. Why do you think that's not like? Why do you think that's not happening?
I mean, because I look at it from a business standpoint. Look, it looks more like this. It's like pharmaceutical companies make money. So I mean, in the end, it's like where the
Shout out
government's,
Moderna.
so I think it all comes down to business. It really comes down to money. And I mean, I hate to even say it, but everything always comes down to money. From you driving on the road and getting a speeding ticket, you think it's because you're being punished or because the justice system's trying to get their bread. So I mean, I
That
think
grease for the
it's
gear. Yep.
yeah, it's just a matter of give and take. There's aspects of it from safety, and then there's also aspects of it from a business standpoint because a lot of money was invested to speed up the process to get this vaccine out. Oh, my bad, Maxine out. So
Maxine.
when Maxine, or they put too much money into Maxine to just let her sit on the shelf. You know what I
I
mean?
gotta keep her.
So yeah,
I gotta put her out there on
and
the strip.
a lot of it they're distributing it for free. So that's going through nonprofits and going through government funding. Therefore, for them to justify that spending, people got to take vaccine. Otherwise, the government looks foolish for investing so much money into something that
Billions.
nobody wants. And I mean, I think right now that over the general population, it's only like we're in the 40 percentile where people actually are wanting to get vaccine versus the other 60% don't. And then you add 15% to people that do just because they don't want to lose their jobs, are getting strong arm. And then you got the rest of the population that wants to stand firm and say, hey, it's my right to whether I decide or not to decide to go ahead and mess with the vaccine. And
So how much percent of people, how many, I know you don't know the physical statistics and numbers, and we're gonna jetson in on this in a second, but how much of that percentage do you think is motherfuckers just don't want to be ostracized by the people that they around, just like that I don't want to be attacked by mob culture. I'm just going to do it just because I was talking to a friend of mine and he got vaccinated and he's feeling a little bit of remorse about it because he doesn't feel like it's beneficial to the point where it was being validated. He still sees people getting, these breakthrough cases and things like this and different variants. So how much of that do you think is like, let me just go along and get along as opposed
I
to I
mean,
really believe in this?
I think a majority of people are doing it just because they're just going with the flow of what's going
Hmm.
on. Because that's a,
Hmm.
I mean, look at it, especially in the United States, how much of stuff is done by influence and by marketing and by
A
people
lot,
trying to fit in and being part of the majority.
a lot.
It's like
Yeah.
individualism is kind of like taboo in the United States. Everybody wants to go along. If you don't, you get ostracized for it, just like you said. And I mean,
Well, that's the
I'm
thing,
pretty
though. A
sure
lot of a lot of people will claim on their, a lot of people pride themselves on, I'm an individual, but their actions don't
reflected.
resonate with somebody that's a right, that's an
Exactly.
individual. So that's kind of crazy, man. And I always wondered that even since when I was a little bit younger, I would and I was ever I mean, I'm guilty of that too. When I was younger, I would go to the
Yeah.
stores and buy what everybody else was wearing, and I would try to aspire to do the things and talk the way and eat the food. It's
Yeah.
very deep. It gets real granular as far as the decisions you're making. But this, I feel like, is a decision that's like 10 years from now. I mean, we could be wrong. I don't, I don't know if you
I
vaccinated or
mean, let's look at this. Let's look at the campaign, especially the vote. They're campaigning Maxine just like they campaign elections. They give you the little sticker says, "Hey, I
not. I'm
got
vaccinated.
Maxine. Remember, I voted. Look, remember those stickers say I
Yeah,
voted?
oh
They're
yeah, niggas
literally the
still
same
rocking
sticker.
though.
They rocking like I got Maxine. Shot. I voted. Shot. But the same thing happened. We go back like the tobacco companies back in the day. Remember, you had the Camel and all the
Hmm.
commercials would be showing young people smoking. And what would happen?
Popularizing it.
Most of the time, like even myself, I started smoking because the girl I liked in high school was smoking, and there was a little spot outside the high school where the kids would smoke, where the teachers didn't know. So in order for me to talk to her, that was my opportunity. So I'm not going to walk out there and not be smoking. What am I standing out there for? The reason had to not be her. So I
Right.
started smoking, and then that's what started me smoking. Next, I'm like, yo, why am I smoking? So then I ended up having to quit smoking, realizing that the whole point now smoking was for a girl that I like, and the relationship with her didn't last not even the whole school year. And that's crazy because
And
you
that'll
do
show you how
things.
fickle it is, man.
Yeah, it is, and then you see the commercials of young folk. But now what it is, it's outlawed now because it's kind of like advertising people to inflict self harm. It's the same thing. You're influencing people to do something that they want to do just because everybody's doing it. And it's crazy how when it's the DARE program, it says don't say no to drugs, and then they're trying to force us to take a drug. It's so crazy how we was going through that, and now we're sitting here looking at people using the same influence to force us to take something that people don't want. For the sake of, I mean, look at it. I mean, yes, the vaccine could be a good thing, but at the same time, there is risk, and the person should be able to weigh their options. Say, is the risk worth the reward? Because the reward is I still might
Right.
get COVID.
Right.
If it was
It's
a
like you. I
100% chance,
think you said it. I think you said it beautifully at the beginning. It's a sense of security,
yeah, a false
because
sense of
either way,
security.
you're not. I'm not in any way affiliated with the medical profession or the field, but I don't know if the statistics are behind it. You don't have a 3-year incubation test. You don't have anything like that to say, okay, this worked. And when the things came up about the women getting blood clots, and I think it was like Norway or Sweden, children, the heart wall of children was thickening, so they just straight deaded,
Yeah,
giving vaccine to children. But none of that stuff is like, hey guys, we want you to take it. These are the risks. Just like I got Crohn's disease, so my
yeah,
doctor will say, hey, this is what you can take. I want you to take this medicine, but this could possibly happen if you take this medicine, but these are also your benefits, and then they let you put it on a scale. As opposed to
right.
this, it's like, yeah, man, shit, great, nigga. That bitch, she never cheat on you, nigga.
Yeah,
Maxine,
yeah,
she's a solid bitch, nigga.
yeah. And then wait 5 years from now, see what happens.
Right now,
And we
but
have no data. That's the reason why a normal circumstances, these things go over through trials of years and years, because
yeah,
you got to see how the long term effects are,
yeah,
and you don't know. Just like they're saying, COVID has long term effects too. Well, we're not going to know that till 5 years from now. Everybody has tested positive COVID. I had gotten COVID last year,
right,
and I was sick for 2 weeks, and then I'm good. Now, what's going to happen 5 years from now? All of a sudden, my heart going to give out, and then they're going to say it was COVID. I
right,
won't know until 5 years happen. So
right.
at the same time, I'm not going to
Either
go,
way,
oh, I'm gonna get the vaccine now, because just it's not going to
we
prevent a long term effect because it already
right.
didn't happen.
we all
So
we all listening to the Jeopardy music right now, waiting to see what happened at the end. So
exactly.
it is what it is, man. But
Yeah,
just to switch gears, man. One thing I'm happy about that came through this pandemic, it's affected a lot of the people that I know, is their employment situation. Uh, a lot of people that hated their jobs were able to get a break from their job. And in some senses, in some situations, they did some personal development, such as taking courses, taking such training, going
right.
back to college. But then again, you got some niggas who just sat in the crib getting the STEMI checks,
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
Call of Duty. You feel me?
yeah. Until
You
those stimmy checks ran out.
yeah, and now you're in a frantic situation. But one thing I was telling one of my homies is like, I felt like it reset the job market, and now everybody's in free agency now. It's like football.
Yes,
You can get drafted anywhere you want to go now. It's just depending on you,
yes,
because you had a year and a half to try to get your life together.
yes.
And I personally did some things as far as switching career paths and doing some things for personal development. But with it, did you take any time? Like, but you was employed the whole time. You didn't really have to
Yeah,
go through that.
the interesting thing is, because I'm a cable technician, my job actually got more busy. I was fortunate enough to my workload increased because the amount of people working from home increased. There's people that do a
Mm,
lot of office work that went from office driving to the office to getting the companies would purchase the internet for them and set their offices in their homes, and I'm just hooking up people. So it's like, in a way, I was going to people's homes. Like it was kind of scary at first, but
Did that just a quick question? Did that count as a residential job or a commercial job if he was going to a house for a
Uh,
business?
it's still residential unless the
Okay,
person has established themselves as an actual
LLC or
business.
something like that.
But if
Okay,
you're just an employee of a company, then it's still residential
still
that's
resi.
paid
Okay,
by the company, because it's not exactly a business per se. But I mean, commercial accounts can be opened up because then it has to go into the commercial
okay,
guidelines. So I mean, it kind of is. If there's also people that have small businesses that do residential, and if it's in a
hmm
house, I mean, technically we can go, well, you're supposed to be commercial, which it should be true, but at the same time, I'm not the guy that's going to be like, this should be a commercial job. I'm at a residential house in a residential neighborhood. I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody that this is supposed to be a business class
yeah.
install. You know what I
Switch your
mean?
shit
So,
up, nigga. Build me right.
yeah. Yo,
No,
because
but you
they
was talking
actually
about
offer different stuff. And
okay.
speaking on that, as a cable technician, that's funny how we were mentioned. Remember how people had that false insecurity? The most common thing that people say to me when they open the door is, um, "You don't care because we have to wear our mask no matter what." You know, that's just the
Mhm.
company policy.
Right,
But they're
right,
like,
right.
"Oh, you care if I wear a mask? Don't worry, I'm fully vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated," and that's the most
I'm strapped, nigga.
common. Yeah, the most common thing that happens is I'm fully vaccinated. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to do my precautions regardless of whether you're vaccinated or not.
Right,
You
right.
know, so I'm
But
just gonna
see,
follow
that's the
guidelines.
thing they were selling though. They was like, you take it, you fuck with vaccine, you'll be back to normal. But our normal's gone. There will be no there.
Yo,
I don't think there'll be any such thing because
do,
it made
do
us
you,
realize how dirty we was, man.
I understand that's what is it? Three treatments is it for the vaccine? Three for vaccine is three. There's
Vaccine,
three visits. Three visits for vaccine. Or is it?
three
Yeah.
booty
So
calls.
yeah, three booty calls. So that's why when people say they're fully vaccinated, I'm like, yo, it's like, yo, chill with that, yo, because that it kind of bothers me. Someone says fully. It's like fully. What are you trying to say with fully? You mean that you 100% clear? Like you're not immunized because you got vaccine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Immunization does not occur because you're not immune to the virus. So you can't say, you know what I mean? I don't understand where that term's never been had before in the history of America. People would say I'm immunized, right? When you
hmm
go get like the measles vaccine, you know you're immunized because that
smallpox vaccine.
vaccine, yeah, because that vaccine gives you full immunization of measles or smallpox.
You
Whether
know what I want to do,
COVID
bro?
does
That
not
I
give you immunization.
You want to do well, I want to what I want to do that I haven't done. I want to see what happened at the introduction of these smallpox vaccines and at the influenza vaccine. How did that go? I should research that
Oh, there's
rollout of
years.
those.
Oh, it's years. Any kind of drug that's introduced into the general population is years of testing, and it goes through different levels
But
of testing.
but what I'm saying is when
It's
smallpox
never been
popped
done
off,
this fast.
when
1 year, it's
smallpox
never been done.
yeah, okay, I can see that. But what I'm saying is when smallpox pox came out, what did they do in response to it? Like, did they just be like, "Nigga, you done? You gotta wait," or
Yo,
was it
that's
just the
interesting.
process? It took a long time.
Yeah, I mean
I
that's
never really looked into that, man.
I think that's interesting because with how we are now with technology that we are today, things could be advanced as far as communication with between countries because I think that's a world problem. When you have
Mhm.
these pandemics, it's not just a country to country; it's a world problem because people are
Yes,
traveling.
correct.
So everybody has to come together, and I think that's one of those things where they probably isolate. Just like remember, if you remember years back, the Ebola outbreak that happened in Africa, and look how America handled that. They sent a lot of people over. They isolated that to make sure that it doesn't spread
Spread
outside of where
globally,
it was.
right?
And it's almost like they waited it out to the point where now, it's not a big issue. Where COVID
Mhm.
in this case, when that
Everybody was
happened,
hit.
it was generally in the Asian continent. And what happened there is that as they were helping it, they weren't treating it as serious because
Wuhan.
yeah, the symptoms at first didn't seem like they were on a major level, but then they started realizing that it was not just as far as your death rate, it was more so as how easy it's communicable, how easily it can be passed from person to person. And they realized at that point, it's lives in the droplets. So like if I cough and then the little mist in my spit is in the air, that little cloud of mist is a possibility where it could pass it from person to person. Any kind of fluid is a possible way to passing the disease off. So if you have a lot of people in a room talking and spraying, say it, don't spray
Yeah,
it. They spraying their words out and they passing the disease so fast. I think there's no disease that's ever been as communicable as COVID is, and that's what
right.
makes that
Allegedly,
virus so dangerous.
right.
Because just like that, it
Got
went
it.
from Trump saying it's a hoax to months later, like
He
the
switched
whole
that shit up.
just like they were shutting things down. It's like, yo, this is for real. Sound like
I
I
thought you
didn't
said
even
it was a
think.
hoax, nigga.
Yeah, you said it was a hoax. I'm like, man, I was like, man, I was one of the people like, man, get the hell out of here with that. Next thing you know, the whole NFL gets shooken up. Basketball goes in a bubble. People getting sick everywhere. And
Well,
I
when
was
I
working
see
on everything.
when I left my job now, I worked at a distribution facility. I was operation manager at a distribution facility, and we actually was getting shipments and containers in from China, like December 2019. And honest to God, bro, I would see, we would have we had a full-time staff, and then we would hire temporary people to come in and do the grunt work. You feel me? Do all of the hard labor shirt. Shout out to all the temp agencies. I know y'all niggas be working hard. But I would notice that the guys wouldn't come back. They'd be like, yo, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. And, usually you just be like, oh, the nigga got lazy. He not trying to come in to work today. It's
Right,
hard
right.
labor. But now looking back at it on hindsight, I'm like, maybe these cats was getting sick from that. These containers, everything was China printed, China seals and all that shit. So I don't know if I'm not gonna say where it was coming from. That might be in the violation of an NDA,
Yeah.
but it definitely was from China.
Right. So
So
that's the crazy thing is that remember before it became a huge thing, it was just kind of whispers of it. Like
right.
in like November, right before the pandemic,
Hmm.
before we got to March, where things shut down, there was whispers of things, people getting flu-like symptoms, and people just treating it like they just had the flu, like or pneumonia or the flu. So
Right.
you just in home in bed, drinking your soup, just
Take
staying
a
and
couple
getting rest.
days. Yep.
And there's people that them probably had COVID that didn't even know it, and they just treating it like the flu and just going about their business. But then their family members are in the rooms with them, because it's just flu. Like, oh, now I got
Yeah.
the flu, and then that became a problem because
Super
back in
spreader.
November,
Yeah.
yeah, because it was already articles coming out in November. So if they would have treated it seriously in November instead of waiting until March, we probably wouldn't have been in the situation that we was
Korea
in.
did
So it's
that,
like,
man. Korea put the cap on that shit ASAP. They handled it like among the top best responses in the world, man. Because
yeah,
they didn't take. I guess they was like, we know them Chinese niggas be lying about data, nigga. We gonna take this shit seriously,
yeah.
you know. But I'm gonna use this as a segue to our next topic, man. As far as like we was talking about the mob mentality, and if you don't have vaccine, people gonna look at you funny, and that sort of spills into one thing that affects me as a stand-up comedian, the cancellation of people for speaking their mind. I always find it a little bit ironic that you have the freedom to be who you want, but you don't have the freedom to say what you want in certain situations, and it's very selective who gets to speak their own piece and who has to just accept what you say. And one of the people that was in the crosshairs because of this was Dave Chappelle. And I think a lot of people hate Dave Chappelle because he's uncancelable. You feel me? He got his bread already. If you don't like what he say, you just got to suck the meat. It is
Hey,
what it is.
Dave let everybody know what kind of fucks he gives just by the
Mhm.
fact of how he just walked away from 50 mil, and I
Mhm.
let you know it's like, hey, you can do what you want to me. I'm gonna be
Principles
who
over
I am,
paper. Yep.
and that's how he is. But I think speaking on that is like comedians since stand up comedy since I've been seeing stand comedy as a kid is like it's always about covering these tough topics that nobody wants to talk about, the taboo topics they're supposed to freely
Breaking the
open.
ice on it.
Yeah. Because if you make a joke on something, it makes it easy to digest, and that's really what comedy is supposed to be about. You're supposed to be able to take those things with a grain of salt and understand that what's being discussed is not generally like, oh, I'm poking at this and I'm poking at that. Now, given there should be a directive in what you say, and I think that that's the difference in what Dave Chappelle does is that he has a beginning and an end to his set. So in
Right.
the beginning, what sounds like an insult, by the time he gets to the end, you'll see what the reason behind it is.
Right.
And he does that very seamless. And if you're offended, just wait. He's gonna
You
he's
have
gonna
to be,
still
yeah. You
you
have
have
to
to
be.
be
Now, I
patient.
think people get upset about that because they're not as masterful as Dave as breaking into it. They'll just slap you and then go
Yeah,
into the
they
next
just
thing
because
without breaking it down.
some comedians just say joke, joke to joke to joke to joke, where he has a set that actually has a whole storyline
Right.
to it
He's a
that has a
surgeon with it.
message. He wants to pass a message in making you laugh, and it's talking about current events, and
Yeah.
and he had the whole bit where he's talking about cancel culture, and he was
Mhm.
basically talking about different comedians that got canceled. And you can't sit here and say he was wrong about the Kevin Hart situation. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
He spoke on Kevin Hart on him saying stuff, and he's getting ostracized for something he said 10 years ago and then loses
Mhm.
his opportunity to host the Grammys, something that he's always wanted to do just because. And then they said an apology and says, we'll take you back. No, he's not going back now because then now you're going to make him look like a fool if he goes
Yeah.
back. It's like somebody
He
slapped you in the face.
alienated.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like, you know what? I don't want it now because it took away from the moment and there's no reason for him to do it
Mhm.
anymore. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it is. Comedians should be allowed to go ahead and speak about these things. And there should be some kind of, at least they have to look at it like, okay, it's not about being insensitive, but also understanding the topic, making the jokes, but you have to follow it with a message for it
It
to
has to
mean
make
something,
sense,
for it to
right?
be
And
meaningful. It's
I tell people that sometimes I'm all about being able to say what you want on stage, But if you are, I seen cats that's just going up there and being assholes, bro. Just saying stuff to just it's not even. I mean, you might get a chuckle, but you could tell it was malicious. It was this guy might go home with his mom, be like, nigger, 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 nigger,
Yeah,
nigger, 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 nigger.
yeah. It's like
So
I've
I
always
mean,
wanted to say.
racial
I've always
stuff.
wanted to say it, so I'll just be a comedian.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And put a smile
I'll be
on
I'll
it.
be able to say it. And not only are you not going to be mad, you'll be
You'll
happy.
laugh.
You'll
That's
laugh at it.
crazy.
And I mean,
So I mean, but I asked a transgender comedian I know. I was talking to her about this, and I'm like, I see you throwing shots at people about height or economic status, all types of stuff. You talking about people, make voicing your opinion, but why when we if it's done tastefully, why is it wrong to speak on you? Why is it how we see it and how we observe things? Why is it not necessarily a joke, but even if you bring it up, bro, if you bring it up, close the curtains on you niggas, man. And I talked to some touring comedians, and it's like, yo, if you say certain things, you won't get booked at colleges. The comedy clubs won't fuck with you.
wow.
And it's crazy. Now we transition, and the good thing is, I've heard from a lot of people, the good thing is we're transitioning to a time where it ain't the bookers who's controlling the shows now. It's TikTok, it's Instagram,
Right.
it's your individual following. So no matter what you really say, if you got the people fucking with you, then you may be able to sell. You might be able to sell 3 or 4 nights at a comedy club here, 3 or 4 nights at a comedy club there. But if you don't have that following, and you just being a rogue server, you out here wilding out. You won't get no flack, and the cancel culture will shut you down. I heard a cat go to a comedy show at a college. I don't think it was a Christian college, just a regular college in upstate New York. And he was up there for like 5 seconds, and he said something about sexuality. Niggas start getting up, and then the cat walked up. The promoter, or the
Holy.
I guess the guy who controls campus affairs, just walked up to him, whispering in his ear, like, "Man, you're done, man. You're done." Just took the mic from
Oh,
on
so he
stage,
was
bro.
like sexuality, talk about like as far as heterosexual,
Choices, yeah, your
homosexual.
choice of your
Yeah.
sex, your choice of
So
your
he was
sex.
trying to break it. So basically, like Dave Chappelle talking about the alphabet
Right,
people.
right.
So
Now
I
that
mean,
that that has emboldened a lot of cats to voice their opinion on it, and everybody shouldn't voice. Like I don't do jokes like that because I'm not fully versed in it. I don't know everything about it. So until I feel like I'm a good enough surgeon to do that, I'm not gonna
right.
really speak on that. Because I
Yeah,
don't want to alienate nobody.
yeah, yeah. If anything, it's just like any topic. You know what I mean? It's just like if you're gonna do a set on a certain topic, then you gotta do your homework. And I mean, that's the part of Dave Chappelle's genius is that once he decides to put some of his topic, he goes through the work and
Deep,
actually
deep,
and he digs into it and he brings facts and factual things that happen in history and he
and it makes
blends them
sense.
together and then he puts his own experiences into it.
Hmm.
So and then he also he openly says, this is where I'm at, this is what I struggle with, this is what I don't understand. But he says he's open to understanding. As you see his sets are going through at the end, he looked at us until he met a transgender comedian,
Right.
and he was making jokes about it, but then he was able to bridge a gap there. So I have a question about that. You said you have
Hmm.
a transgender comedian that you know.
Hmm.
Do they make jokes about the transgender community themselves, or do they?
Of course. But I think that falls into the realm of black comedians can say nigga and make jokes about black people, the way not necessarily a white comedian couldn't. Like I got white comedian friends when we started, they wouldn't do it profusely, but one a few times I caught them on stage saying nigga, and it put me in a weird space when I first started. I'm like, did this nigga say nigga? But
Yeah,
then I just sort of I had to loosen up. Like, man, okay, this is the art. First of all, this is an open mic, so we testing shit out. Second of all, this is a part of the art, like you said at the beginning. What if he really feel that way? And I've always been a proponent of you could call me a nigga all you want, but when you start treating me like a nigga and blocking my resources and opportunities, that's when I have an issue
right,
with
right,
the
right, right.
implication of it. So but yeah, at the time, she does all, and she's a real dope comedian. I'm not gonna do no name dropping, but she's a real dope comedian. Funny, blossoming, growing as a comedian. Um, but it always perplexed me, like why can it's just crazy to me. If this, I think about this with white people. I make jokes about white people. So when I hear a white comic say something about black people are late, color people time, I don't really get. offended because I understand that it's we're doing comedy right now, you know, and people laugh. And in the crowd, these are regular working everyday people. They go to work, they say this shit with their friends at work, they say this with their family, you know, not saying that they racist, but you know, it's gonna come up. People say, I don't see color. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. You
Yeah,
have to see color.
the person that says that, when a person says that, automatically lets me know that what they really think inside.
They in the
Because
Klan.
you can't sit here and say I don't, I don't see color. Like when you watch a cartoon, you're seeing colors. We see in full color. There's only a few beings on the planet that sees in the full color spectrum. So
Hmm.
I mean, I understand the metaphor behind that statement. I don't see
Right.
color. I see people's can't. It's like, no, you see it because you may not say it out loud, but walking down, they do those little studies. You walking down the street, go down a
Hmm.
white neighborhood, and you start walking down, and you see women as you do that. They'll go to the opposite side of the street, or they'll
Hmm.
clutch their purse a certain way. You know what I mean? Or react, or their body language shifts. But those are the same people that says I don't see colors. Like, yes, you do,
Right.
because
You have
you
to,
you
man.
subconscious your subconscious reacts to what you see.
We've been
And
indoctrinated to see color, and we
yeah,
make subconscious decisions. Like I'll go, like if I'm around the way, if I'm in Silver Spring or Bethesda, I'll feel a tension like these white people is judging me, and you can tell it. You can see they
yeah,
looking. Some people can walk through there ignorant of that, but you know you can see the glances. But at the same token, if I'm driving through Park Heights or walking through Park Heights to go to Cinderella Shoes, I'm conscious of the niggas that might look shady, you know. And it's just ingrained in who you are. I think it's a little bit of indoctrination, growing up in the societal constraints, and a little bit of just safety. You know, just like if you was in a rural backwoods area in northern West Virginia or some shit like that, you gonna know, hey, this Klan land. Let me not bump the Gucci man too
yeah,
loud.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
I mean, just like I lived
self
in
preservation.
Louisiana. Some parts of Louisiana, I'm driving there doing cable. I'm like, man, I don't feel comfortable.
Hmm.
And what's crazy is you mentioned Park Heights. It's like it's crazy because a friend of mine, he's a white dude and real cool. Me and him grew up together. So when I was living in Park Heights, shout out Park Heights to Wiley Cold Spring Station Apartments. That's where I was living at for a couple of years. He came to visit me. He just came out of college from York College, and he was
Hmm.
coming to visit me. He driving a Maxima with the freaking Skyline kit on it, all black
Oh,
Nissan
balling.
Maxima with the rims. Yo, riding down. He said he didn't even make it down Wiley. He got pulled over, and it was a white cop, and he said exact words: "What's your white ass doing around here?" And it's
Out
crazy
of
because
place.
police officers, their job is to profile people based on how they look. It's the crazy part.
Hmm.
Now, does every police officer do it right? No, I mean that's what causes problems. But in this situation, this is a predominantly black
Black
neighborhood.
community. Hmm.
I was the only Puerto Rican live there.
You was
So
fucking
they
up.
everybody knew me as a Puerto Rican, yo. That's what they said. So he's coming down, and that's what he was saying. I was like, you know what? He got profiled, but the way he looks at it is different because they were automatically thinking he was there to cop drugs.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
what's a white boy doing? The only reason why a white boy be riding down this way is to cop
Grabbing
drugs.
some dope.
So that's the crazy part is that they were asking him to search his vehicle and all that. But Mike just coming out of college, he did his little verbal, got up out of it and came through and said, "I just got pulled over, yo." And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, and
It's
some crazy
real.
shit.
It can happen,
And
man. It can
it's the
happen.
same thing. Like, if me being Hispanic go to a white neighborhood and I'm just walking down the street, police officer gonna stop saying, "What the hell am I doing there?" You know what I mean? But I think the way you stop that is you have those neighborhood parties, those block parties that they have with the neighboring police that goes to your neighborhood, so he could see the people that live in the neighborhood and kind of see, look, this is the demographic of this area, and
the
that's
the
supposed to
cops the,
help
the
them.
cops the cops in the heights know what's up though, and the cops in the heights, unfortunately, I ain't trying to snitch on nobody there, but I'll snitch on the police. A lot of them motherfuckers in bed with the niggas selling dope, bro. They
Yeah,
get
yeah,
they on the tape. They on the tape,
yeah,
man. I mean, a
yeah,
couple years ago, you saw when all 12 of those Baltimore City sheriffs got locked up for planting dope, selling dope, planting guns. You know, a whole it was a whole it was the access level of the ring got wiped off. You know,
yeah.
the big boys probably still up there pulling the strings, but the access level got wiped off. So I just think that's something you're not gonna get away from. Like I was talking
Look,
to my
it's always gonna be like that in Baltimore,
It's
though.
gonna be like it's
It's
always gonna
always
be
gonna be
like
like that
that.
in Baltimore. It's been
Shout out
like
to my
that
nigga
since ever.
Antoine letting me stay at his house. We was just talking about that. You're not gonna be able to get rid of some of the evil. So it's like, why
No.
are we focusing on, so hardly on changing something? You'll never be able to control people's thoughts. You'll never make people get on 100% accord with each other. We're not
Yeah,
monolithic.
everybody has their own agenda, and that's what's always going to be. Once it's like you could even go into something innocently, saying, "I'm doing this. I'm gonna become a police officer to help clean up the streets," and then just like that's why you look at what is that Training Day. Training Day shows you that,
Lonzo
like, yo, just like that dude came in with good intentions, and then he became
turned out in 24 hours.
King Kong ain't got nothing, yo. And then he had the white boy that he was training, and he almost got him to be dirty. And you know how that movie ended, but that just shows you corruption just happens over time. What's another movie? The Shield.
I never
Was
seen
it
The Shield.
a show called The Shield? Yo, that shows that
Okay.
it was a good ass cop, and he had his whole squad, and they went from good cops to straight dirty as hell.
Savages.
It just it cascades. Once you do something wrong, you gotta do something wrong to cover it up. And once you do that, it's a never ending cycle, yo. You keep breaking the law to cover up, you're breaking the law, and it just keeps on cycling. It just cascades and domino effect reaction. So I can say, like, a lot of police officers that go into the force, they probably have good intentions, but once you get into that system, your true colors start to
Yeah. When the opportunity is so present to,
yeah.
every day you turning down $1,000, nigga. Every day
Yeah.
you being
Or you
righteous.
opportunity, you pull a drug dealer over and you got 50 grand in cash and drugs. You gonna just take that shit,
Well,
or
I
you
think
book
it's
them,
deeper than
or you
that.
book them and then put on the paperwork that you only found 25 in
20.
cash.
And I think it's inevitable because, like, you could be righteous, but one day your wife gets sick, she got to lose her job, your bills rolling in, your kid, and you like, damn, this time I'm gonna take that $10,000, y'all.
Yeah,
Just this
yep.
one time.
Just this one
Just this
time,
one time.
but then you get away with it, and then how you feel about it when you do.
You get addicted. 10K?
It's like, ooh, it's okay. And then
That feel good.
when you're in the court system, jailer, he's like, everything I did was for my family.
Right. Now you crying like Kyle Rittenhouse because you took $10,000,
I did this for you.
nigga. You hurt, you feel me?
Yeah, it's a
It's
crazy shit,
crazy.
man.
But we headed into the winter month. It's some pretty good movies on the slate coming out, man. I'm excited. I'm a movie buff. Me and my family
I am
got the
too.
StubHub pass, so we go. It's expensive taking a wife and 2 kids and popcorn and shit, nigga. Whew. Should have done that. Blow the whole earned income
Does the
tax
theater
credit
run
check.
you have like those days where they give you like half off on tickets and shit like that?
Tuesday is
Oh,
like
Tuesdays. Yeah, down here we got.
$7.99.
Yeah, down here we got Tuesdays. It's $5.99 for the tickets. So that's when I
Yeah,
usually is when I go, unless it's one of those movies that you gotta see open at night,
like
just
right
because you
there.
don't want to
Yeah,
wake up the next morning and somebody talking about it, like you fucking
right.
bought it, or
But
you
nigga,
accidentally come across a website and see the
right, and
ending.
they spoiled it for you, right? But one
Yeah.
movie that I did go see that I feel like I shouldn't have went to go see, nigga, and you felt like what that was worth going to see was that dry ass Eternals movie, bro. It was dry as grandma's pussy, nigga, and I'm
Yo,
like,
what? I don't disagree with you on that. It's 75% of that movie was dialogue. So I mean that lets you know right there.
89% was dialogue, nigga.
You sure it was 89?
Seven,
I think it was
89%
75.
dialogue, 7% bullshit, and whatever else is left was action.
Yeah, that was actually. But
It was
I think
trash.
that movie was more like an origin story, and because the Eternals itself as a comic wasn't really a very popular comic to begin with,
Mhm.
but it was essential into bringing the Marvel universe into the
Setting the floor.
cosmics. Yeah, so that's kind of like a backdrop type of film. So if you don't go into that film understanding what you're going to see, that's what's going to happen. The same reason why Wonder Woman World War 1984 was
Yeah.
poorly received, because everyone
That
looked
shit
at
was
the
trash
first
too.
movie, and that movie wasn't trash to me. It was a very well done movie, but it wasn't what people expected. And I think that's what that happens is you got to know what you're going into, because Wonder Woman 1984 was a psychological movie. It was more dealing with villainy in the mind, what could
Oh,
happen
hold
to a
on.
person.
I didn't even see what was that's what I'm thinking about the first one. I don't think I really seen Wonder Woman 1984. But my homie Leland was in that movie. Shout out to Leland Clayton. He was in that movie. But I didn't
Yeah,
really get to watch it. It was, I mean, I think
it got
my
poor.
daughter watched it. She liked it.
Yeah, it was a poor reception because a lot of people, and I mean, it's look like see for me as being a comic book person, I understand what I'm saying. I already understood what the source material they were pulling from, so I already knew I was going to go see a movie that dealt with the internal struggle of good, right, and wrong, and what it can mean when you're presented with an opportunity
Back to the
to get
police.
something. Yeah, look, you're presented with the opportunity. Look like this: you lost somebody that you love deeply. You know what I mean? You lost somebody you love deeply, but you have the opportunity to bring them back.
Mm. Oh, that's what it was about, like
Yes.
retribution.
But there's a cost, and remember that's what it's about. There's a cost to everything. You know, whatever
Mhm.
you get, you're gonna lose that much more for it, and
Okay.
so
Is it
that's
worth
what
it
it
at the
was.
end to even do that?
Exactly. So the way that was, but then what happened was that there was the reason why 1984 didn't hit is because they tried to put two plot lines in the movie and that didn't work. They should have just stuck with one or the other. They tried to bring
Mm.
Cheetah into it and it just was too much. But I understood where the movie was trying to portray, so I stuck with this. I stuck with my mind looking on the source material. Same with
Okay.
Eternals. I knew
You was
what I
looking
was going
further.
to see. Yeah, I was looking beyond what that movie was about, what it means to the next line of movie. So I wouldn't
But
have
my
recommended you to go see it if you weren't. I would have said, you said, hey, Edwin, do you think I should go see Eternals? I'm like, nah, bro, just wait till it comes on DVD. Make sure you do watch it because that the storyline is going to probably be prevalent to the other
See,
movies
but
coming.
what I feel like is
But
happening, what a lot of people from my
I
reading the
wouldn't have brought
regards to
kids
the
to go
review.
see that movie because that's definitely kids will fall asleep quick
Right,
on
that's what I'm
Eternals.
saying. But in the adverts, they like, yeah, this action packed summer's
But
blockbuster,
it's
Eternal. I get this.
misleading. It's
Niggas,
misleading.
I could have
It's
watched niggas play the violin and had more
Yeah,
action
yo,
than
yeah,
that,
yo.
bro.
There was so yeah, that movie was misleading. That's part of the problem is that the trailers they do so much to try to make it entertaining, and then you see the trailer and think you're going to see a
That's
whole
not what it's
movie of that,
coming up.
and you just see action in the beginning, and then and then for like 45 minutes straight dialogue, no fighting,
Trash, bro.
and then you
And
get some action and then dialogue.
right, hella dialogue, nigga. They
Yeah,
gonna have a whole thesis on that shit
yo,
to
but
just have
look at that
5 minutes
movie.
of
That
action.
Eternals to me should not have been a movie. It should have been a series, just like WandaVision and the other stuff. They should have made an Eternal series because there's a lot of backstory that they try to cram. They crammed a lot of backstory in that movie, showing from different ages. Remember, showing you 2000 BC, and then it went to this
And they
time and
tried
this time.
they tried to blame the black man for blowing up Hiroshima. Did you see that? They tried to blame it on
Yeah.
us.
Yo, that was kind
Nigga.
of. Now he was feeling guilty though.
Right, nigga, he ain't have nothing to do with that. That's the US
No,
government.
no, but he didn't do that. He was remember he said he was
He
helping
gave them
giving
the
them the
tools.
technology.
Right.
He was helping them get the technology to do that, and they were supposed to use it for good, and instead they created Hiroshima.
But the one thing I was talking about people is when Disney brought out a lot of all the licenses and rights to this, they straight made it a prostitute and put her on the track. That's how they did it. They
Yeah,
lost a lot of the loyal, like you said, comic fan base of people who know the stories and they know the theology
right,
behind it, and they just like said, "Fuck all that. We commercializing this. We going public with this. So we have to make it more broad for
right.
everybody so that
Because
we
you
can
have to
sell lunch
remember,
boxes."
there's a level of pressure that comes with it because you already know you got your comic fans. They're gonna be there
Mhm.
regardless, right? So you can't sit there and go, oh, okay, let me go ahead and make this movie and just appeal to them. And then you're going to lose all of that money because the comic book community is only a piece. You got to try to appeal to everyone. And I think that's what kind of there's a balance between the two. And then the problem is Disney, that the MCU, which is another source of Disney, didn't
Mhm.
own all the rights of all the comics yet. They just got.
Ah.
Remember, Sony owns a lot of them too. So now they have like Spider Man is owned by Sony, but they now they're partnered up with the MCU, which is how Spider-Man came. But here's the problem: Venom and all of the characters from Spider-Man are still owned by Sony because they own all the Spider-Man rights. So that's why
Mm,
Venom came out with no Spider-Man. What does that do for
mm.
us comic book fans? We're heated because we already know that Venom doesn't exist without Spider-Man.
Right.
There
One
is no
feed off
Venom.
another.
Venom is the exact product of the rejection that it got from Spider-Man, and that's why he
Protagonist,
has to grasp it.
antagonist. Yep.
Yes. So how are you
So,
going to have Venom?
but that's what
So
I think. I think that all falls into the commercialization of it, dog. Just like with are you a wrestling fan, right? Edwin, you fucks with
yeah,
wrestling,
yeah,
right?
I used to. I haven't been keeping up with it in my adult
Since
years.
since they went public. I mean, I hate wrestling. I used to watch it at night. I mean, when I was a kid, but my grandfather used to be like, turn that shit off. I never get to watch WWE Raw like I wanted to. So I just said, fuck it. But once Vince McMahon took WWE public, a lot of people saying they can't do the lingerie fights and stuff like that no more. A lot of it got scaled back, the entertainment side of it, all of
I'm
the
gonna have to
raw
turn
shit
the
that
light
people
on
like.
because hold on, I'm starting.
Well, we have 55, bro. We have 55,
wow,
so
yeah. I'm
we
starting
gonna
to look
close
like
out in
that
a
dude.
minute.
It's like, hey, like that dude's like, well, when I was just a little kid, she told me that she was.
You got the To Catch a Predator confession face right now.
Like, I never thought when I was a child that I would live this type of lifestyle. I was forced to do this.
You got the anonymous name at the bottom and the voice scrambler on.
And then the background, you got the freaking stars and stuff. You just see a dark figure. It's like, I came to take your children.
I'm telling you, go take your ass to Big Lots, man, and grab one of them. The good Lord is providing my light right now.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna get a better light. The light is so bright, that's why I turned it off because it was blinding me. So I was like, I would be sitting there blinking to the light. So that's why
you'd have looked like a fucking K-pop star. You'd have been white as a motherfucker.
Yeah, but for some reason I was well lit. Why is it getting darker? I have not turned the lights off in here. Is it because outside's getting dark?
You on the phone with black people? That's why, nigga. I brought the ambience down.
Yeah, but let's jump over to new movies because we talked about those old movies real quick. Let's jump just hot topic since I messed up the Halle Berry flick that's coming out. Did you get a chance to look?
I seen you sent me the link, bro, but I was doing 115 through the desert, nigga, trying to get here on time, bro. I was still late. But I didn't get a chance to look at that, and I didn't get a chance to look at the Kaepernick
She directed that movie.
Was it good?
Her directorial debut. No, it's releasing November 24th.
No. Oh, you didn't get to see it yet. Okay.
For Thanksgiving, it's coming out November 24th. But that movie already went. It was actually made last year. Netflix. It went to the movie festivals, and Netflix has bought it. So that's why it didn't get released because Netflix wanted to release it.
What's the premise on that movie?
It's about MMA. She's a fighter. That was, basically she had a disgraceful loss and like just went into the shadows of disgrace. And when she was a young kid, she had a child and gave it up for adoption. And after
so this losing Isaiah too.
Yeah, not necessarily. Yo, it's funny because it's in a way it's somewhat like it, but it's different because she's not fighting to keep a kid or nothing or trying to get a kid.
She giving her baby away.
Her kid finds her as a teenager. And she's down in the dumps, and she used to be a star MMA fighter, and everyone's recognizing she's just a joke to everyone now. And then her kid comes back into her life and kind of rejuvenates her, and then she tries to redeem herself. That's so it's losing.
Story. It's losing Idea meets He Got Game. Okay, I got you.
But if you watch the trailer, it's got kind of. But what's interesting about it is her directorial debut. Like this is her first movie that she directed and stars in.
And she got a gang of knowledge from being on set all them years, she got a gang of knowledge.
And also the most physically demanding movie because she actually did harsh training in MMA and
she's in it and directing it.
She's the fighter she's the lead character. She's the fighter, a woman MMA fighter. What I mean? I think her nickname, her moniker was Lady Justice, something like that, I believe.
I'm all for the women MMA, bro. Them fights be just as scrappy as the male fights.
That's what I'm talking about because I just was watching the Rose Namajunas versus the Zhang Wei Li fight. That was
they be going hard. They be going hard, bro.
Rose Namajunas is a beast, and she be fighting her tail off. And that fight was amazing. And the crazy thing is, after the fight was victory, Halle Berry was there. She's the one that put the belt on it because I think she
was whited it.
I think she was doing some of her training with some of those MMA fighters from UFC to try to learn some techniques and stuff. So I mean, that's crazy.
That's a demanding thing, bro. You don't play fighting. I made a joke about that the other day. Like niggas say people are stupid. Fans, people at sporting events are stupid and say anything. Like you go to a basketball game, they be like, "You suck." All of that shit. Football game, they don't do that shit at MMA. They don't do that shit at MMA. You'll get knocked the fuck out.
You'll get wrapped up real quick.
They will beat your ass.
But that's why you can't be fucking with actors too, because people think that these actors they're playing these things on TV like. But a lot of these actors actually get the real training to be authentic on film. So these motherfuckers that's shooting and stuff, they probably can shoot the shit out you from that far away in real life. They ain't just playing somebody on TV. I mean, Tom Cruise is one of them. He does most of his own stunts. Keanu Reeves, when he was doing John Wick, he went through a whole military shooting training and went through like a SWAT team training. And they were talking about him as he's been a natural. They would actually go into a freaking clear a room out with this dude. That's how good he did, like with the rifle. So and then they
he
had
had
like,
all that Matrix training, yo.
Yeah, man. They released a video Keanu Reeves clearing the thing, and he went through an obstacle course like just rocking it. And you're like, yo, if this dude has a rifle pointed at you, best believe
this ain't a movie, dog. Shoot the shit out you, bro.
So you gotta respect them actors that they really commit to, the methodology of becoming a character.
It shows up on film too, man, and you can see that they're seamless. Most motherfuckers be like, "We have to clear the room."
Yeah, that's when you know
the BET movies.
That's when you know the movie's trash. Like I mean, like this movie King George with Will Smith.
I didn't see that.
That's coming out, I think.
About the
weeks.
Serena.
Yeah, yo, that's and one thing we know is like Will Smith has a lot of
King
movies.
Richard.
Did I say King George?
Yeah,
I said King George.
Ready to go back to England, old chap.
I meant King Richard. Yo, the crazy thing is in my head I said King Richard, and then psyched myself out. I said it ain't Richard.
That's that Baltimore school system, got
you. Yeah, I said dummy to myself like it ain't Richard, dummy, it's George. Fuck myself up. But yeah, that's gonna be good because every time I see Will Smith play a character of a real life character, he really embodies that.
He throws himself in it, man. He throws himself. He's a phenomenal actor. Say what you want about his relationship and all the drama, but as an actor, the boy is steak sauce, A1, man, premium. He a beast.
Yeah, it's crazy how remember that movie he did where he was like a love doctor. Hitch. It's crazy looking at it. It's like damn, Hitch.
Damn, Mitch.
He's supposed to be a love guru. What happened?
Yeah, he fucked up. That was a movie. Now that was just acting. That was just acting.
Nah, but you know what's crazy? If you look at those table talks, I think a lot of it is just taken out of context because she goes to.
No, bro. She said that it's hard to be intimate. She said it's hard to be right. It's entanglement. It's hard to be intimate. That's not taken out of context.
No. She was not talking about it. She was talking about being able to please and being intimate because trying to be exactly what he expects. That's what she meant and what she was saying. She tried to explain that later.
Why are you trying to be exactly what a man expects? Like I would tell my daughter, be yourself.
She was talking about she was talking about the stress that women have trying to be the best partner for their significant other.
I tell my wife all the time, I don't expect perfection from you because I'm sure not perfect.
But she messed up in how she delivered it because it made it sound like Will don't turn her on or nothing, and that's what it sounded like, and it was bad, Joe. It was bad.
Man, I don't know. She if you slip once, you make a grammatical error once, it's a mistake. Twice,
and then
and
then the history doesn't help neither because she has it called entanglements, and then later on, a year later, you're talking about it's hard to be intimate.
I don't know.
I feel bad for Will.
That's their life, man. I feel bad, man. If Uncle Phil wouldn't have died, he wouldn't be going through this shit, bro. He ain't got no guidance right now, man.
Why don't you want me, man?
She don't want me no more. I don't need her. I don't want her.
Yo, remember that was like one of the best scenes in Fresh Prince when his dad left, and then he went to Uncle Phil. He was like, "Oh man, I did all this by myself." And then he said, "Why don't he want me, man?" And I was like, "Yo, bro, oh my god, that's terrible, yo." How Jada gonna do that to him, yo?
I can't watch none of the red tape.
And what's going on with Jada? Did she get some work done? Because her face don't look right.
I don't know, man. In Hollywood, that's a given. Everybody got plastic surgery.
Like her cheeks, they look like they something going on.
I'm about to get a dick extension though, on God, nigga.
Is it a prosthetic? Is that what they do?
I don't know. It's a extend that pipe. I was driving up Las Vegas Boulevard, big ass sign. Extend that pipe. And it was like, I know what they talking about. Nigga.
You know what they use pig tissue.
Give it to me.
We're gonna we're gonna cut out some of this urethra from a pig.
Hey, nigga, give me that Charlotte's Web dick, nigga. That'll do, Doc.
Wouldn't that be messed up if you got an extension and it was a white dick at the end?
Oh, it's in the middle. It's black at the base, black at the tip. It's white in the middle.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna say what that is.
I can't. I'm gonna be like,
What's
damn.
that? Is that an Oreo or a Twinkie?
I don't even know. I'll take it either way. Swiss cake roll.
Oh shit! I don't think we're saying the right things right now, bro.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late.
It's a good thing nobody knows what I look like anymore.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I'm the one that's gonna get fucked up. You got the voice scrambler on. Yeah.
It's like, nah, that ain't me. You must confuse with someone else. It's like, yo, that piece of your cheek looks familiar.
You should have left your other name still up there, bro. You fucked up. You incriminated yourself.
I fucked up. A lot of people know Imani OT though. Man,
Oh shit!
I'm known all across the gaming world. Imani OT is known, son.
Niggas don't know us right now, man. We bottom feeders. We sucking on the baby's pig titty right now for food. But yeah, man. So
one of our
guys,
3 viewers is.
Yeah, one of our 3. We love you, boys. Niggas already started bringing the Camaros out and shit, as you can hear. But guys, we thank you. We thank you. If you're still here with us, we coming up on 105, man. So we're gonna start winding it down. Is there anything else you want to hop on that with, man? Anything before we sign off, bro?
Man, it was just a great start to the show. The next time, I promise y'all, I'm gonna get a better ring like that.
Yeah,
didn't blind me.
It's all good, man.
We had it good in the test run, but I decided to take the ring light off because I was like, you can see me good enough, but that ring light was blinding me, yo. So
flashing
lights. But I'm gonna get the right shit, yo. The background's gonna be lit better than shit. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have more than a apartment. I'm on a balcony right now, man.
You in Vegas though, so that's different. You automatically just Vegas.
It's not. I wish I could show you, but I'm inside like a little, just like a little dog park area. It's chills out here, man. We live in Henderson. He in Henderson, Virginia. I mean, damn, Henderson, Las Vegas, right outside. So I'm like 20 minutes from the strip. But yeah, man, we're gonna keep curating this show, man. And if you are watching this, we're gonna do this once a week. We probably do it on the weekends, right?
We'll
our shows on the weekends. Hop in the comments below. Let us know anything you want to talk about. Tell us if we did fucking wrong about something. Tell us if you feel different. If you agree with us, man, whatever. Your responses help us develop the show. It helps us develop as writers and producers and bringing you the content that fits what you want to see. We are here for you. We are your public servants. So come on out. Let us know how you feel about what we're talking about. Thank you, Edwin, for joining me, man. Thank you for my patience, bro. Thank you for your patience, man. I know I was late, bro. You know I love you, man. I appreciate you rocking with the boy. I'm gonna be nobody. This is not. I'm gonna put it up now. We'll try to put it up now. But I'll be at the Silver City Casino tonight, 8:00, doing some comedy. So make sure you pull up to that. Edwin might be in your fucking house tomorrow to fix your shit. You know, you never know,
yo. It's the cable, man. Edwin with Spectrum might be knocking at your door. So you know,
man, I miss doing that, man. I miss doing that. That was it's never the same job twice. It's never the same day twice. But we could talk into that we could leave that for another subject because that's
I got stories on stories.
Yeah, I was about to say that's gonna be that might be an episode in and of itself.
Just talking about cable nightmares and cable situations.
But it is what it is, man.
But hey, man, have a good set, man, and try to. I want to make sure I get the video footage on that too, so I can watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the homie record it. So yeah, I'm gonna send it to you, and I still got to get that link to that website and all, but we'll do it, man.
Yeah, man, I gotta hook you up on that because I got your whole shit set up too, so you can watch all your sets.
I know, man. I'm an idiot, yeah. I know, I'm an idiot. I'm radio, nigga.
Nah, you busy, man. You always you're jumping from project to project. You gotta keep it flowing. So,
but this is one I'm really excited about, man. You know, I hope that we can get a good following because we are truly two people. I feel like that are based in, you know, if not just fact, we are based on learning, you know, so we aren't above feeling like we saying we're wrong and learning something new. We both have the ideology of that's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you become a better person, being corrected. So I say a lot of shit that's on my mind simply for the fact just to get corrected. Because if it's wrong, I can change my way of living. If I'm right, then I can flex on y'all niggas a little bit. You feel me?
Exactly. And the viewers will actually be part of our growth because the more y'all interact with us, the more that we'll grow as we do this and be better and better as we do it. Because you're gonna have your suggestions on topics and what we're doing. You know, and every time I'm always gonna take it, you know, the constructive criticism. And
right or wrong, man, we're gonna come back. Right or wrong, we'll come back. We're not gonna shy away from shit. We're not gonna be like, well, we're not talking about that. I mean, you know, some things we don't want to hurt. We don't want to be malicious. That's one thing about us. We might speak facts. It might be a little bit nasty going down the windpipe, but it won't be malicious. You know, it's not.
And if you don't like what we say, too late. We said it.
We already said it, bro. We already said it. And with that, we're gonna sign off, Edward, man. I love you, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you too, man.
All
No
right, y'all
doubt.
be
Hit
safe.
me up.
Peace.
All right, peace.